Okay, hi Math 2, how are you? You should be on my YouTube page, and I think the audio should be pristine and perfect. And maybe if I figure out the settings, maybe I'll figure out how to have some soothing background music. But okay, let's go over the negative exponent homework. I'm going to do these two questions out that were in your binder. Because I think the exponent, the expressions in on the practice page, you have answers in the back for it. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to actually do these out with you. If you're someone who wanted to write this as 2 to the negative first and then 5 to the negative first, you certainly could do that. But at the end of the day, that's what happens. Okay, this we get 6x squared, and that's it, right? Here we go. Just be careful here. I think I reversed C and D. Like I actually think this is C. No, this is D, and I think this is C. Isn't that funny? But anyway, let's just do D. So be careful. If I were to ask you what's being raised to the negative first and the negative second, it's the X and the Y. 3 is not being raised to the negative first, okay? That would have looked something like this if I wanted to raise the 3 and the X to the negative first, but that's not what that's saying. So the first thing I'm going to do here is not forget that I can divide 6 by 3. I get 2, and then the x to the negative first and the y to the negative second come up, and I get this as my final answer. Look at that. Feels so great, right? Okay. This is also tricky. Be careful here, right? This is, so there's a couple things you can do. So this is saying -1 is raised to the negative third, okay? Or maybe you're someone who wants to say it's -5 raised to the negative third, okay? Either way you want to go is fine. Let me say this. I would generally do this, okay? Well, actually, which one would I do? I don't know what I do. Let's just try a couple things. So you want to make sure that you're clear that it's this is -1 raised to the negative third. Now, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to first do this. I'm going to do 2 cubed over 5 cubed, okay? Because that takes care of 5 to the negative third and 2 to the negative third. Now, notice here I didn't address this negative, but -1 to the negative third. Now watch all, now see, Ava, be careful. The negative here is like a -1, if you will. The negative here, it's not a minus as the subtraction operation, but this is equal to 1 over -1 to the positive third, which just is going to equal 1 over -1, which is -1. So at the end of the day, this is your final answer. Oh, I can make that look better. -8 over 125. Okay. All right. Really good. So here, maybe you're someone who just wants to clean the inside first. I get 2x cubed all over 3. Okay. And then maybe you want to do that, take to the negative second. So I get 2 to the negative second, which is 1/4, right? Hang on. So I'm going to get, maybe you want to do this. Maybe you're someone who feels good about doing that. That's fine, right? And believe it or not, everyone, you actually are going to get more comfortable faster as you practice, which is why it's good to practice, okay? 476, let me do those out. Is that one's next? Oh no, I just did. 483, let me get those up here and then I'll just resume the record. Okay, well, A is x to the 6 times x to the negative 6. That just equals x to the 0, which is 1, okay? This here, okay, be careful, right? A is being raised to the negative third in here. 8 is not being raised to the negative third, but 8 is being raised to the 1/2. So if I were to really like make sure I'm careful about this. Okay, and then maybe I'll do this. There you go. Now at this point in our game here, I'm comfortable with you leaving this as 8 to the 1/2. Maybe you're someone who wants to say, well, 8 to the 1/2 is just the square root of 8. And I know that's just 2 root 2. And I know that just means it's 2 times 2 to the 1/2, which is the same thing as 2 to the 3 halves. If you really, I mean, but that's like that at this point. I mean, I'm really not concerned about that right now. You know what I mean? Like there's no need. Like this is fine right here. And then C, I think they were trying to get you. I'm noticing here that the thing being raised to the 6th, this yellow triangle, that's a rectangle, Yam. That's a rectangle. That's not a triangle. Guess what? Exact same base. So you've got something raised to the 6th times something raised to the -6. That's just going to equal that same rectangle raised to the 0. And anything raised to the 0, even if it's a yellow triangle, it equals 1. A rectangle, it equals 1. Oh my gosh, isn't it embarrassing when your math teacher doesn't know her shapes? That's how awful. All right, my Math 2 superstars, you guys are doing great work here. Great, great, great. Look for Thursday, tomorrow. I will put up